Hi, and welcome to 10 Leadership Skills for 2024 and Beyond. My name is Corey Dunham. I'm a faith-based leadership coach and mentor. I help leaders and upcoming leaders to rekindle their passions, to focus on what's most important. And just a little bit of background about me. I have a wife of 24 years, three wonderful young adult kids, all doing very well, working, going to school, being productive. And I'm so thankful for that. And the reason why I'm passionate about mentoring and coaching leaders is because I've wasted so much time making excuses with my life, with choices, not really taking advantage of the opportunities I had and that I could basically have control over. So I am passionate about working with people so they don't get lost in the mix. There are all the things going on in the world, the uh, things, our mobile phones, devices, everything else. There's a lot of things going on, but we got to stay focused on what's most important to us, our purpose and our passion. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and we're going to get started. So here we go. 10 leadership skills for 2024 and beyond, equipping tomorrow's leaders for success in a radically changing world. So introduction, I've already covered that. Number 10, you want to be driven and motivated. You have to be driven and motivated. You have to have some energy. You have to have some passion for what you want because life isn't just going to come at you. Success isn't going to come at you. So you have to stay driven to what's most important to you. Nobody else is going to be there and is going to have the most motivation to get things going and to pursue what's most important to you. So you have to have the drive to keep going. And different ways to create drive and motivation is being around the right people, being in the right environment. This is going to raise your mindset. It's going to raise your belief and your attitude. And that's just one way to increase that motivation and drive. Number 9, make sure you command today. You have to take advantage of today. That's all you've got. Yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery. And I think I'm quoting Kung Fu Panda, the movie, but the whole idea is all you have is today. You have to focus on and take control of it today. So whether that means getting up early, having an intention of what's most important to you, because we only have so much time in the day and distractions come at us. Many times our days may look like we've planned it, but many times they don't. Or your energy level tanks or something else happens. But you have to have intention as to what's most important for you today. And I think that's one of the biggest pieces is plan what today is going to look like. And the best way to do that in most cases is the day before. Or maybe if you plan out your weeks, you can do that also. But you have to take command over today because tomorrow you can't control that. You can't control yesterday. That's a learning experience. But what can you do today to make today better, if possible, than what yesterday was or what your yesterdays were? Number 8, redefine failure. This was a huge one for me. Many times my mindset was the thing that was in my way. I had imposter syndrome. Told myself stories that why do I think I can fail? I've been on this planet for 55 years, going on 56 years, and I've wasted so much of that time making excuses, like I mentioned earlier. But you have to redefine failure as a learning experience instead of looking at it like I used to do and say, man, I don't want to fail. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to feel dumb. Those are the wrong questions and the wrong things to say. We want to ask ourselves better questions and have quality conversations with ourselves. What is this experience going to teach me so I don't have to learn again the same lesson that I've been going over and over and over again? Because life will continue to throw the lessons, the learning lessons at you that you don't ever get, that you don't ever pass, that you don't never understand to move forward. And I've repeated many different things, which is the definition for insanity, and not doing what I know I can do. I just gave up and I told myself stories that I'm just such a loser. If we keep doing that, you're probably the biggest person in your life that's going to believe in you the most. There might be a few other people around you that can build you up, but you're the only one that can take those steps, stay consistent, and move towards your goals. Number 7, collaboration. In order to get bigger, to accomplish big goals, to do different things, to lead, it's so important collaboration and communication. So I've noticed just in the last few years, the conversations I've had with other people have been pretty amazing when I've looked at it. That's probably one of the biggest factors in opening up myself to new opportunities, to new successes, to new goal achievement, because either it was something I didn't know how to do, something I wasn't an expert at, or just something that if I had somebody else's help, it made it so much better because 2 heads are better than 1. 2 or more people working on a task gets it done much more quickly. Number 6, locus of control. It's so important every day to realize what's within your control. A lot of us worry about everything else that's going on in the world, or watch the news, or hear all the gossip, or watch these different Netflix series and this and that, or tabloid type of things. And we're not really controlling our lives at that point. We're more of secondarily controlling our lives in the way of we're just allowing things to come at us, and we're not really filtering what's most important to us. So we have to be really sensitive about what we're in control over. And then you need to focus on taking actions of those things that you're in control of. Some examples might be what you read on a regular basis, who you associate with on a regular basis, how much time you're spending on your phone or your device on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, doing other types of things. How much time do you spend on exercising? Maybe that's too much. It's not a good balance, but you're not controlling your life, which we have a limited amount of time and we have a limited amount of energy. And like I said, I've wasted so many years just thinking, oh, woe is me, nothing else I can do with this. But come to find out, there's so much I can do. So I'm excited about life and what God has blessed me with. And I'm more aware of seeing the opportunities I have, where I was totally blind to a lot of the opportunities due to a fixed mindset and a scarcity mindset, instead of having an abundant and a growth mindset. Number 5, you have to be persistent. You have to be very persistent. You have to keep going after stuff. You have to keep following up. You have to keep going after things, have that dogged determination. Because if you're not persistent, there's always challenges that come up. There's always learning experiences, or as some people might call them, failures that happen. Well, what are you going to learn from those things? And are you going to quit? So the goal is, ideally, you've got to be persistent. And every time you fall down, you've got to get back up. Just get back up. You don't have to know the whole way, the whole route, or how to continue to succeed at that point or learn. But you just have to keep getting back up, keep trying, keep learning as best you can. Because even if you learn 1%, that's way better than just quitting. A lot of us, and too many of us, quit on so many things. Quit on our marriages, quit on relationships, quit on our goals, quit on ourselves, quit our diets, quit saving, quit investing. A lot of things that are just, if you continue to do it, it's going to reap massive results. Number 4, lead by example. Number 1, this automatically starts with lead yourself. How do you take control over your mindset? How do you do when it comes to health and nutrition? Or are you just saying, oh, woe is me, I have to stop at the fast food places because that's just what I do? Well, can you change that? Well, you need to lead by example, because if you're not a good example, how can you lead others and collaborate and be a great part of a team? And I've had to change my mindset when it comes to leading by example. I'm like, oh man, nobody's following me, or people are watching. There are people watching you right now, and you just don't realize it. So maybe you're a great example in the things that you exhibit, or maybe you're a poor example and you need to level up your leadership skills. And of course, if any of this is resonating with you, type leader in the chat or message me leader if you want to level up your game with leadership, or just have a conversation about what's going on with you. Number 3, master self, mind, body, everything. Because if you don't master yourself, how can you expect and even understand someone else who's being challenged by them being undisciplined, or not having the right habits or routines, things that are hurting them. How can you understand them if you're not doing it yourself and you don't understand some of that struggle, the persistence, the determination, the motivation that it takes on a regular basis, and then surrounding yourself with the right environment and people who can help lift you up. So, once again, exercise. Do you have a good balance of that on a regular basis? Are you eating nutritious foods to give you good energy? Are you drinking enough water every day? When you get paid, do you save and invest some of that money? In my case, since I worship in my church, I give some of the offering. I save, I invest, and then pay the bills with whatever's left over. So mastering yourself, being disciplined yourself, doesn't mean you can command and tell everybody else what to do, but it definitely helps when it comes to leadership and mastering yourself. Number 2, you got to have purpose. You have to stay in touch with what your purpose is. If you don't even know what your purpose is or your passion, then you need to figure that out. And there's different ways to do that. One way is to slow down and just sit without any distractions. Put your phone away, turn off the TV, turn off your laptop, maybe sit in a quiet space for 5 to 20 minutes and just think what your life would be like if you could achieve those ideal goals you had. And then start to develop and ask questions around, well, what's the next step I could take toward moving toward that goal? Because most goals, if they're big enough, they're going to be a journey. And success is a journey. Success is not a destination. It's the journey. It's who you become in the process of this purpose. And I know for many years, I never really thought of my purpose. And all I ever thought was, geez, I just want to be a multi-millionaire. To do what? To do what with that money? What kind of causes? Who are you going to help? What fun things are you going to do? So it could be all different types of things, but what is that purpose and what's deep in your soul that is so important to you? Number 1 is know your identity. In my case, I'm a Christian. My higher power is God. I have faith in Jesus Christ, died on the cross for me, which we just celebrated Easter, and then rose, conquered sin, death, and the devil. I tried to separate that from everything I've done pretty much mostly in my life. I'd go to church, come home, not even talk about God or pray or any of that stuff. Now, over time, I've learned, my gosh, that's what's been holding me back. I can't purposefully move forward in life and succeed because I knew it'd be a selfish goal rather than looking at what God wants for my life. So really identify with what a higher power than yourself. And this will also give you some energy to move forward and be successful in what you do. So just to recap on all these, and we'll answer a question and answer time in just a second here, and I'll go over some common questions that people ask. Number 10, be driven and motivated, affirm your beliefs, maintain a positive attitude, set high expectations, but don't beat yourself up if you don't reach those goals. It's probably something you haven't learned yet, or maybe it just takes more time, more leadership skills, more activities that you might need to take. Number 9, command today, take advantage of today, get rid of those distractions, develop some routines and habits that are going to take care of and move you closer to those priorities that you have. Number 8, redefine failure. What stories are you telling yourself? Embrace a growth mindset, which is learning from failures. Embrace an abundance mindset instead of scarcity, and that there's not much success, money, time, or any of that to have. Number 7, collaborate with others, have conversations with people, ask questions, find out somebody who's successful, find out what they did, get some ideas from them, and maybe they'll be the person to build you up. Number 6, locus of control. Simplify your approach and experience and exude essentialism. Maybe you need to strip out a lot of different things in your life. And you don't have to do this all at once, but look at some of your life and say, man, what am I kind of wasteful, or am I spending too much time doing? And in my case, that was Netflix, YouTube videos, all different types of things that really allow me to relax and enjoy myself. But then it's like, wait a minute, and I'm complaining about my life not being where I want it to be. So take the leadership and command yourself and figure out what you can control instead of complaining what you can't control. And like I have on here is the serenity prayer, where it says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And also have persistence, which is number 5. Keep at it. Lead by example. Start yourself, even when nobody else is following or nobody else cares. Figure out what you're passionate about, what your purpose is, what priorities you have. And number 3, master your mind, body. And this is a daily practice. This is something you do on a regular daily basis. Just over Easter here, past few days, I didn't have my morning routine, or wasn't able to, because so many things were moving parts. We're trying to go to church as a family. So my morning routine was changed, but I changed my mindset. Instead of beating myself up, oh, I didn't get to do my morning routine, which is reading, praying, exercise, drinking water, read out of some other business books and positive development books. I wasn't able to do that, but I've learned to be present, say, wow, but I'm doing something that I'm passionate and something that's a priority to me, which is family time, family relationships. So that was a huge win that day, that I recognized that, and I was just aware and had some mindfulness. And other ways you can also practice mindfulness is through journaling, like a business journal, figuring out what every day at the end of the day, figuring out what wins you had, what learning experiences you had, how can you improve it for the next day. And then also looking at that and saying, did I focus on my top 3 priorities? So as number 3 says too at the end, you want to embody an abundance mindset. Not just talk about it, not just think about it, oh, that's a great idea, but embody it. Are you practicing it? Are you sharing with other people? Are you communicating with people well? Or are you communicating in a poor fashion like you used to do with other people? Connect with them, build up people, encourage people. Number 2, once again, have that purpose. Stay connected with your purpose through regular reflection and review of it, writing goals down, writing SMART goals. They're specific, measurable, attainable. They relate to you, and they're time bound. They have a date on it. That's one big mistake I used to do for a long time too. It's like, well, I've got all my goals, but then I never really looked at the date, never really had a date. I'm like, oh, that sounds good some point in the future. But some point in the future, sometime, I wish, it's not going to get the job done if we're not focused. Distractions will come and take that focus away. And also too, like it says at the bottom of number 2, is I've had, just in this last year, I've been married 24 years, but I've been to marriage counseling. So I've had to humble myself in regards to what's most important to me, which is my family and my marriage. So a long time ago, years, probably most couples could use marriage counseling of many sorts along the way, because we all get distracted and lose our purpose. I just don't have the skill sets to relate well with our family. But having a marriage counseling is probably the best investment I've ever made, to both learn about myself, my wife, and to be persistent and determined to do better as a person, to support other people, and to change my focus instead of me, change the focus I used to have. And number 1, know your identity, ground yourself in your faith, something higher power, seek guidance, seek God, and stay true to your identity and values. And now I'm gonna go to question and answers, and once again, message me leader or leadership in the chat, or message me. And if you want to have a talk about your situation, would like to discuss that, or you want to just up-level your skills for leadership, I'd be happy to do that. So I'm going to stop the share right now and just look at some of these questions that are, let me see, frequently asked questions we have. So one question is, how do leadership skills specifically apply to the challenges of 2024 and beyond? Well, because of all the distractions and disruption, especially with AI, all these different tools, all these different things that are going on, everyone pretty much is bombarded or inundated with all kinds of messaging, ads, distractions. I mean, one of my big focuses a long time ago was just to get my email inbox cleaned out, which is a terrible focus, and spending the first valuable amount of time during the beginning of the day on just cleaning out email. Now I review my priorities, what's most important, and then check email as a secondary or something as a third choice to do, and see what's going on that might relate to what my priorities are. So it's so important when it comes to your leadership skills that we're going to be getting more and more information, more from bots, not from people, obviously. Some more automation, more messaging. So how do you stay clear of all those different types of distractions, where you got to stay in touch with your purpose on a regular basis and reflect that. And one of the biggest ways too is to hang around people who are successful people doing what you want to do. And maybe they're successful in another field, because some of those skill sets, habits, and discipline will rub off on you. And many of those are transferable to different types of things you want to achieve. Another question is, can you provide examples of how leaders can cultivate a skill of being driven? And yeah, we've talked about some of that. I think one of the biggest effects that have been on me is being around other people. Iron sharpens iron. Being around people who increase my leadership skills, increase my mindset, increase my attitude is one of the biggest things. Also, too, it's been said, what you read and what you listen to is going to make a huge difference. What you input into here is going to make a huge difference on how you lead and how you proceed moving forward, and how disciplined you stay towards your goals. Visualization can also help too in all of this, because if you can't really see yourself in your mind's eye of what you're looking for and how that awesome future is going to look like, then how do you know what to go after? Yeah, you may have it on paper, but if you're not visualizing it, which is one of the best ways to reach our goals, is to visualize that end result and then match up with what you see out in the real world and opportunities. And that's where I started to become more and more aware of opportunities. Before, it's like, ooh, that was a headache. I don't want to do that. That's a headache. That would be too much work. I was focusing on the wrong things. I was focusing on the work or the effort and not what's most important to me to give me a fulfilling life. Another question is, what practical steps can leaders take to enhance their ability to lead? Well, once again, you have to decide. You have to take the first steps. Nobody in success is just not going to fall in your lap. It does rarely to people, but in most cases, you're going to have to take those first steps, and you're going to have to align those steps and activities with what's most important to you. So I'm really hitting on that whole purpose, your values, your mission, and really staying connected to those. Because if you get off track, just like an airplane, if it doesn't follow its GPS and make several course corrections along the way, it won't get to the destination. It'll be 10, 20, or 100 miles off by the time it gets to the destination. And it will be so far off, it can't even get to where it wants to go. And you can run out of fuel even in that case. So it's one of those things that you want to keep your motivation high. You want to stay focused, and you want to measure with what's going on in the outside world. Is that what my goals are? And am I moving toward, am I getting closer or further away toward those goals? How can leaders develop the skill of mastering self, mind, and body amidst their schedules and priorities? I have kids. I run a couple different businesses. I'm involved with different leadership and business groups. So yeah, you have to really plan your time out, what's most important. And then over time, you start to get really effective at what's most important, instead of just letting all these distractions get in your way, because we've got a lot of them. A lot of people have their wristwatch or iPhone or whatever that's sending them messages constantly. So one of the ways I do is when I'm at home, I want to be intentional spending time with my family or relaxing. So I'll put my phone on the counter and turn off the volume. In most cases, I keep my phone turned off the volume anyway, because I usually don't get any emergency contacts or anything, but I can schedule times throughout the day to check my phone and get those different messages or communications that I need. But if you're distracted like that every 5 minutes or even more often, then you're probably not as productive as you think you ought to be. So it's important to keep your mind focused and targeted on what you want. Another question, what resources or strategies do you recommend for leaders? Well, some I've already mentioned. Some of those are reading, what you read, what YouTubes you watch, what podcasts you listen to. And we can learn and get an education in so many different topics just by listening to podcasts or YouTubes or educational videos, reading books, reading blogs in the different areas. So much information is out there. You just have to focus. You can't pick 100 different things. You got to pick maybe 2 or 3 different things you want to focus on. Do you want to learn a piano? Do you want to travel to different countries? Do you want to maybe work more remote, have more control over your time? Do you want to set up a second gig or a third side gig that creates that additional revenue to help you get out of debt, to help you save, to help you invest, so you get some things paid off? And then what else do we have? Yeah, morning and evening routines is another one. What kind of routines do you have? Is your evening routine that you stay up late, you're consuming high calorie foods or drinking, and then that sets you up for kind of a lackluster morning for your morning routine, or you're setting yourself up at night so you're getting good rest, and then in the morning you can jump on your morning routine or jump on those priority tasks that you have. And I usually do some mental things in the morning, like I mentioned earlier. My morning routine is exercise, devotion in the Bible, praying, and then reading some other books and drinking water, because I forget to drink water. I love coffee, but I forget to drink water. And of course, there's all different types of things you can do to really stay focused as a leader. And once again, being around the right people, having coaching, a mentoring situation. And that's one thing I teach leaders too, is for leaders, have a coaching mindset. If you know something, you learn something, teach some of the people. It doesn't matter if you're their leader or you're their boss. It could be a friend, could be somebody in your family. Have conversations, teach people what you learn, share. This is what people did for generations way back in the day when there was multi-generational homes and smaller communities, is that through stories, people learned by sharing stories with others. And that's how a lot of knowledge and information was passed along. So I think that's it for the questions here. So definitely appreciate you being here. And hopefully everyone has a great day. And like I said, message me leader or chat leader, and we can have a conversation about your situation or getting your leadership skills to the next level. Thanks for being here.